Hi everyone, my name is Serena and I'm going to be talking about my journey with type 2 bipolar disorder and 5 things I wish I could have told myself when I was at my absolute lowest. I've been holding off on posting this for a really long time. I've had a whole write-up since my last depressive episode ended in July of 2020. I have had this written up since 2021. And it's something I wanted to share about, but I'm afraid of what it could mean for my career, what it could mean for being accepted to schools and jobs, how people would perceive me, if it would define me by my diagnosis. All these things is what kept me so many years from posting about it. In the past, I had posted a similar video coming out as bisexual over my Instagram, just amongst my personal friends and loved ones. And while that was a really scary experience, this feels almost 100 times scarier to talk about my mental health. However, I've only have had really good experiences sharing about my mental health with my loved ones over the years, so it's time. Yeah. This is my #1 goal for the year when I wrote my New Year's resolutions, and I've accomplished every single other one on the list but this one. And as you know, today is the very last day of 2022, so it just has to be done today. The timing will never be perfect. I will never have the level of skills I think I need to make this happen, so the time is now, and imperfect action over perfect inaction is just running through my head as the quote of the day of why we are doing this today. No more waiting. And there's one really impactful quote that's really inspired me in wanting to create a video like this, so I'm going to share that because it really meant a lot to me when I was going through my own stuff and now kind of coming out on the other side. And the quote is, "One day you will tell your story of how you've overcome what you're going through now, and it will become part of someone else's survival guide." That being said, let's get into it. So what is type 2 bipolar disorder? So type 2 bipolar disorder is a type of bipolar disorder characterized by depressive and hypomanic episodes. So there's the concept of unilateral depression, which is like severe depression, whatnot, and then kind of like unipolar, and like bipolar, essentially, ranging from the depression and more elevated states. So with type 2 bipolar disorder, it ranges from this one end of really severe catatonic, crippling, vegetative depression. And you have normal over here, and then out here you have something called hypomania. And a lot of times when people think of bipolar disorder, they think about what is known as type 1 bipolar disorder, in which the person might range from experiencing states of depression and mania. And mania is a different state than hypomania. Hypomania is kind of like this elevated mood state that doesn't go as far as some of the characteristics of a manic episode at all. So I guess some things here, let me reel it back into looking at my list. I'll just start with some textbook definitions that I have here. Like, it involves at least one depressive episode lasting at least 2 weeks and at least one hypomanic episode lasting at least 4 days. So that's a loose definition from the internet. Once again, I will say this is my first time saying that. I'm not a mental health care professional. I'm just sharing off of my experience here. So in my experience, my mood has ranged from that severe catatonic depression to this elevated mood state. And the thing with this elevated mood state is it's very confusing because I'm an extrovert. I'm really talkative. I love making friends. I'm a big personality, and that can be really indistinguishable from hypomania at times. when hypomania is more in full bloom, you can feel that kind of, those aspects of being really chatty, like overly energetic. Almost it mimics this kind of like ADHD kind of energy, similar to that, kind of this maybe more, what's the word, like spontaneous decisions, spending, staying up all night, stuff like staying up late, like things like that, forgetting to eat, just being really on the go, having lots of ideas, things like that, things of that nature, or just feeling really, really good. On the other hand, the depression with type 2 bipolar disorder is really, really, really intense, and it is, you know, really the throes of what depression is. So there is a difference. There are two different types of mood disorders. Type 2 is not like a chiller version of type 1. They're two completely different things, and type 2 can actually be exceptionally debilitating due to the severity and length of the depressive episode. And yeah, there's mood cycling, and the treatment for it involves counseling and medication such as mood stabilizers. So I just want to highlight how where I was 2.5 years ago to now feels like more than a 180 metamorphosis. I want to explain some of the characteristics of what my severe depression was like. There was, you know, feeling so alone, no sense of self, wanting to die, complete loss of emotion, and I wanted to emphasize that depression is different and can escalate very far past sadness, where it's a void of emotion. You're not able to cry anymore. James Blake described it in one of my favorite songs and albums as floating in the ether. And one of my favorite books, Midnight Library, explained it as being a shell of a person pretending to try to act normal. That one really hit. I was in a really vegetative state. I had catastrophizing anxiety that convinced me fully, I mean it, I 100% believe these things, that I'm the black sheep of my family and I'd end up a drug addict and homeless. I had constant self-hate playing in my mind 24/7, anxious, depressive thoughts. I literally would identify most with like incel depression Reddit. I would doom scroll LinkedIn, IG, look at everyone doing amazing things. And it got to the point where I didn't want to get better, and it was like clawing with every ounce and shred of my being to get back to even wanting to do something about it. To where I am now. I hold a full-time job. I've signed a lease and I live at my own apartment. I don't know how to edit, so this has to be a single take. So that's where we're at. I live in my own apartment in one of the best cities in the world. And for the last year and a half, I've bought my own car. And I'm, more than anything, I'm surrounded by so much love with my friends and family. I've discovered and pursued my hobbies. I'm building my calling in my career. And I can say with full confidence that I love myself. I do. Okay, so 5 things I wish present me right now could have told past me when I was at my lowest. And I mean a true rock bottom, lowest possible level. I've experienced it. You guys who know what I'm talking about, who, you know, also have had BP2 or severe depression, you know what I'm talking about. But anyone, I just want to put this message out there. For my past self, this is what I would have told myself. Number 1, you are not making this up. You are not lazy and being dramatic. Something is seriously wrong and you need to seek help. Number 2, starting psychiatric medication will literally save your life and give you your life back. I know it seems scary and like this officially changes everything, or that you're weak for not getting over this depression on your own. I know you've told yourself working out is equally effective to antidepressants. I know you've heard about that in public health class, but you need medication. There's a literal chemical imbalance in your brain. Bipolar disorder is real and rooted in your like neuroplasticity and whatnot. It's real. You need to start drug intervention. And it is through starting drug intervention that you truly found out about your condition and you will just need a maintenance dose for the foreseeable rest of your life. So yeah, I take a mood stabilizer called Lamictal. I'm on the lowest maintenance dose, and it's also called lamotrigine, and I take it every day like clockwork. I don't even think about it anymore because my life just, I'm so far past this point that it's really powerful now to like really look back and think about it. But yeah, I do that every day of my life without fail. I am so compliant to my medication. It's wild. I would not skip a dose for the world. It's so important. Medication is so important. With that being said, number 3 kind of goes along with that mental illnesses are equally valid and should be treated the same way as other illness. Why can we talk about asthma and needing an inhaler so casually, but talking about having bipolar disorder and taking medication for it is seen as so taboo and could threaten how people perceive me and my job and whatnot? I want to be transparent with my own experience in sharing it to work to eliminate the stigma and be a source of support like others I found on YouTube were for me. When I was at my rock bottom, I turned to some really amazing creators on YouTube who really helped me see that there is life beyond this. And yeah, I want to make talking about bipolar as casual as talking about pollen allergies. Anything. It's chill, it's normal. There's so many of us who are affected by it. Number 4, cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, dialectical behavioral therapy, or DBT, and a program that I was in called intensive outpatient therapy will literally make you so well adjusted that you'll honestly like have better coping skills than people who haven't gotten that experience of studying these things. And this is why I think everyone should study these things and learn how to cope with their emotions and deal with anxiety and all these different things. Like, it's equal parts medication and therapy and doing the work. And I understand how privileged I am to get such good care, to be in a financial standing and family in which I can access this. So I'm beyond grateful for that. But IOP was group therapy, and like, don't be scared or embarrassed of group therapy. It's literally amazing and so validating. And it's the sense of community of people who understand 1000% what you're going through, and they're in it with you. So check your stigma. With all this, check your stigma. And it sucks that sometimes you have to experience it yourself to really not be scared of all of it and have that stigma. But, that shit saved my life. I wasn't supposed to say a bad word, but here we are. Number 5, open up to your family and friends. They will appreciate knowing what you're going through and be able to support you. They may have stigma, and I understand what it's like coming with, just an immigrant family background. That makes you not want to tell them, but you'd be surprised how much people change when they see their loved one going through something like this. And the more we normalize this as a society, the better it will be. Okay, I'm running out of time. Conclusion. So this is just the start of me sharing my experience, and I really appreciate you all for taking the time to listen. And if you're seeing this right now and you are struggling and can relate to where I was at, it's not an if, it's a when. You will get through this, and you will be so much better for it. You will exist in this world in such a new and reborn way. I tear up at the simple things, like listening to good music, looking at a pretty view, splashing in a puddle, laughing with my friends. I experience such deep, intense gratitude for every single day because my journey truly would have ended 2.5 years ago. It's true. And my life really has just begun. It has just begun. By me sharing this, I really hope that anyone who's in the depth, I know it, that depth, that crippling despair, that agony, that misery, that nothingness, that void, I know it all too well. I hope you can see another example out there on the interwebs of someone who made it to the other side. I can say with full confidence in this day and age, in this moment, that I love myself. I love the life that I'm creating. I love where I'm at right now. And I have so much love, such amazing relationships in my life. I take a maintenance dose of medication every day. I'm completely compliant with it. I stick to therapy and my healthy habits, CBT, journaling, etc. If you're struggling, please let someone know and seek therapy and medical attention. And with that, you are loved, you are worthy, and you are innately valuable simply because you exist. Sending love and signing off.